The year is 2030. Finland has the safest, smoothest, and most environmentally friendly traffic in the world. Cars are increasingly becoming self-driving, and more of them are running on electricity and other low-emission energy sources. Ships and trains are remote-controlled, drones deliver packages, and perhaps even carry people. E-biking is the new national pastime. This trend was fueled by everything being connected to everything. Here in Finland, we have something new, a real-time status of the entire transport system, a digital twin. This digital layer has formed a platform for the growth of entirely new services and businesses. It has created a unique transport ecosystem, a network of enterprises and experts with shared goals, working towards shared success. This is now Finland's new competitive advantage. All the parts of the transport system now exchange information with each other like we have never seen before. Operating capacity in the air, on the rails, on the roads, and at sea is now much more efficiently used, and maintenance costs have gone down. Smoothly running public transport with on-demand services has become a viable alternative to private cars. The delivery time for a product from the deepest central Finland to the world markets is shorter than ever, and Finland is well on the way to achieving zero emissions across the board in traffic. But the main thing is that there are now many fewer traffic accidents, yet people and goods still get to where they're going much faster than before. Finland now has the safest, smoothest, and most environmentally friendly traffic in the world because we lead the field in leveraging transport information. We have created a new expertise, a new export, and something we all Finns can be proud of.
Hello everyone, my name is Simon Horner-Long. I'm an independent digital and IT transformation specialist with around 30 years of experience. And I'm here today with Janne Lautanala, who is the Chief Ecosystem and Technology Officer for FinTraffic. Janne has been involved in this field around digitization of traffic management for about 7 years, of which the last 4 have been with FinTraffic. I'm going to ask Janne to start by telling us something about what it is that got him into this area of traffic management and how it ignites his passion.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me in this conversation. Well, traffic is going through a major digital transformation right now, and when I first joined Wärtsilä, which is a maker of engines and a number of digital solutions, I was kind of intrigued by the message of creating sustainable societies with the help of smart technology. So that resonated with me. I want to enable sustainability. I want to enable positive change in the economy, in the society. And since I'm a digital guy from the background, of course, I want to utilize smart technologies, data, and whatnot. And so after a while, I got headhunted to FinTraffic, and here we are now. And it's been a great journey so far.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to exploring that journey with you more. So let's start with, I know you've written a blog and you've identified 11 key trends which are now enabling a future vision. But there are 11 trends. I think there are a couple that we really want to dig into. One is artificial intelligence and how that is going to really change the game for traffic management, or even how it's starting to already. And the other one that I'm especially interested in is your use of digital twins, planned use of digital twins. So let's delve into that, and then we can get into some of the others as well. So how is artificial intelligence starting to really change things for you?
There are a number of use cases what we have in production in FinTraffic already. One example is the estimate time of arrival for vessels in the ports. So the typical approach, the typical process is that the vessels inform the ports that I shall be in the port at 2 a.m. on Friday, and please prepare for my arrival. The reality is that the actual time of arrival might be several hours off. And of course, other parties in the port are affected, the truck drivers, the pilots, whatnot. What we have done is we know the actual location of the vessel. We know from history how much time does it take. We know the weather condition. We know the availability of pilots and whatnot. And thus, with the help of artificial intelligence, machine learning, we can give accurate, kind of constantly more accurate estimate time of arrival for different parties in the port, including the truck driver. So in the past, the truck driver may have to wake up at 1 a.m., go to the port only to notice, oh, the vessel is 5 hours late. Now he or she can have a look on his mobile phone and say, oh, the vessel is late, I can sleep for 5 more hours. Things like that. And of course, this kind of the consequence of this one is reduced waiting, reduced fuel, kind of more efficiency, and everybody benefits when a simple data of estimated time of arrival is being shared between different parties.
That's fantastic. And I understand, I mean, there's a lot more as well in terms of how you're using huge quantities of real-time data to sort of feed into even the likes of Waze and Google Maps and so on. So it's not just for business, it's also for the citizen.
Absolutely. Pretty much all of the data that we have and we deliver is open data. We are delivering that at scale, around 20 billion API calls every single year. And the users include kind of companies like Google, Apple, Microsoft here, the local PTAs, PTOs, consulting companies, etc., etc., and also kind of the developers, the kind of one-man hobbyists who try to develop new services for themselves or for their friends and stuff. And we've had a huge success with the help of open data and what kind of new services are being developed with the help of that.
Fantastic. Are there any other particular uses that maybe you haven't been able to execute yet with artificial intelligence, but which you see sort of changing the game going forward?
Absolutely. One example is the prediction of future for certain risk. If you think about, for example, the road traffic, depending on what is the weather conditions, what is the time of day, how much traffic there is, and a number of other kind of things that affect the risk level in the roads, we would like to create a model where we can very accurately and very precisely tell the actual road user that there's an increased risk for slippery roads or whatnot in a very accurate level. So not just that, okay, somewhere in Finland there might be slippery road. No, in this particular kind of crossroads, there's a slippery road. Please be very, very aware of that situation, slow down and stuff like that. And so this is the vision that we want to enable, kind of really model the whole traffic system, give very precise, very accurate, very real-time information for the actual user, enabling smoother traffic, safer traffic, eco-friendlier traffic, and a number of other benefits to different users of the roads or other modes of traffic or transport.
Right, and that's quite important because, in fact, it covers all modes of transport, as I understand it.
That's correct. So FinTraffic is the only organization in the world which covers all modes of traffic. We have road traffic, we have railway traffic, we have vessel traffic services, we have air traffic control. So in that respect, we are unique, covering all the modes of transport, and we are also responsible aggregating, managing, and publishing traffic-related data, and not just kind of the situation awareness data. We have also, for example, public transport information. So basically, the buses, their schedules, their routes, stuff like that.
As a keen cyclist, I have to ask, does it include cycling?
There is some data. So, for example, we have a few points where we're measuring how many cyclists, how many pedestrians are passing this particular point during the day. We are publishing that data through open API, so you can have a look on how much cyclists there is during the year. Surprisingly enough, even during the kind of snowy times of January or February in Helsinki, yes, there are people cycling in Finland.
Yeah, no, I believe you. Well, it would be nice if, like in Waze, you can report problems in real time. If cyclists were able to report problems in real time that they're encountering, you know, for example, like a tree blocking the path, or, you know.
Yes, there actually is. So we do have a mobile application called FinTraffic Mobile. You can actually report that there's a pothole in the road, there's a kind of tree fallen on the road or stuff like that. And it's actually not just in Waze. The problem is that, yeah, you're reporting and the other people are seeing it, but it's not going to the actual the people who can do something about that. With us, it is actually doing. So if you have a pothole, it's going right away to the companies who are responsible of maintaining of the roads. The best case scenario, it's like 15 minutes and the pothole is fixed. So it's not just a kind of information, it's actually a mechanism to report the problem. You can actually see how is it progressing, is somebody really doing something on that, and once it's fixed, you get a report or message back that, and now it's fixed. So really increasing the safety and smoothness of the traffic.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. We have potholes that we've had for months or years in England, so that sounds really amazing. Now, what's fascinating to me is so you're optimizing the traffic flow for individual modes of transport, but equally you're optimizing the flow across the different modes of transport, which perhaps comes on to the topic of the digital twin.
Yes.
When we were preparing for this call, I know you showed me a map, which I think might be difficult to show now as well, but you showed me a map which was of the country of Finland, which kind of showed any hotspot issues in any mode of transport, which is quite amazing. So can you tell us a bit about the digital twin and the plans for it, and how it's kind of breaking new ground?
Sure. So the situation in Finland, we have almost like 20 years of background and history of collecting traffic-related data and publishing that in open data, open APIs, and we've had quite a bit of success with that. So we are utilizing that for, of course, for all internal purposes for traffic management and control, but we are utilizing that information for kind of giving instructions and information to the actual users of traffic that, hey, there's a collision, there's an accident on the road, there's a road blockage on the road, there's a road works there, the road is slippery, there's congestion, things like that. And basically we have a free website, liikennetilanne.fintraffic.fi, where you can go and see pretty much in real time how the traffic flows. You can see the street side weather cameras and how does it look like. During the winter, you can actually see almost real time where the snow plowing kind of vehicles have been going. We have this thing called the weather in Finland. It's pretty harsh, so you really have to know kind of what are the road conditions. A little bit, yeah. So it kind of and gradually that becomes a model, or a plan is to create a model where you have not just the infrastructure information, but also the real or close to real-time information of how are the traffic flows going. You have the weather condition and other condition. You have information about the services on top of this infrastructure, whether the bus is late or what is the real-time location of the bus or train or whatnot. Are there any kind of some issues with the bus route? Okay, it's gonna be, its estimated time of arrival for that particular bus stop is delayed by 15 minutes or whatnot, things like that. And we believe that this provides a huge asset for Finland as a society if you can leverage that information, if you can write to that kind of same digital twin pool, If you can read that information, you can optimize, you can analyze, you can create new type of services which benefit the whole society, the companies, in terms of making, for example, logistics more efficient.
So you mentioned open APIs, and I know that you're trying to create a very open ecosystem.
Correct.
What about security? Because we see in the Hollywood movies anyway all the time the criminals seem to be able to disrupt traffic just at a few clicks of a keyboard.
Yeah.
How are you thinking about cybersecurity and keeping this open system safe while being open so that people can really optimize their use of it?
Yes, so we take it very seriously, and of course, kind of due to that change situation in the world, we have to take it even more seriously than we have done it in the past. We have made a risk analysis of this one, and please do remember that the data that we are sharing is typically real-time information of the traffic, so it's very volatile. That the information that we have now in 1 hour's time, it's not really relevant, so the situation has changed. Or if we think about information of the bus routes and stops and schedules. I've been joking that I don't think that the enemy is taking a local bus to come to Helsinki. So kind of course, we are not sharing information which is infrastructure critical stuff, which is maybe very, very sensitive. It's something that provides very valuable information to the actual users. And of course, should the situation change, it's one click and we can take all the information out. And since it's very volatile kind of situation in 1 hour time or even less, it's totally different. So the history data is not very valuable for any criminals, for example.
Okay, yeah, very good. Can we move on to talking about the impact of all of this? Because I know it's a vision, and I know you've achieved a huge amount already, and perhaps you're leading the way in the world on this. But obviously there are impacts for individual citizens, there are impacts for business. You've touched on some of those already, but you might want to mention some more. But then also there's a broader social, societal impact. So do you want to just spend some time, Janne, talking about the impact of what you're doing?
Sure. So basically, we have actually executed a study with a consulting company evaluating the impact of just the kind of data part of what FinTraffic does. So of course, we are doing the traffic management control, and there's huge positive impact. But if we just isolate to the kind of open data and data and ecosystem services that we are doing. In Finland, the size of data economy is 4 billion euros annually. The traffic data economy in Finland is around 600 to 700 million euros annually. We estimated our share of that, both kind of top down and bottom up, and came to the conclusion that FinTraffic is contributing approximately 40 million euros annually to the Finnish traffic, logistic, transportation, mobility, data economy. And it's actually growing very, very fast. So our annual increase rate of data usage is something like 15 to 20% year on year. So it's actually growing pretty fast rate, and we believe that the more we do, the more positive impact we can have. I can actually share a link to once again, it's open information. It's in our website. So if you want to have a look how we actually calculated the impact, you can read the report in English even, so you don't have to learn Finnish for reading that.
That sounds amazing, but can you just make it a bit more personal for so that's kind of at a societal level, and that's a huge impact. But for I guess there's a big, I mean, for the individual we've talked about, it's obviously about flow and seamless journeys.
Yes, absolutely. So for example,
business, but what are some of the examples of real savings that businesses are able to achieve?
Sure. So for example, we are sharing availability of pilots in the ports to the vessels. What they can do is, instead of doing kind of kind of full speed to port to wait. Now they can slow steam going to the port. Typical or maximum saving utilizing the slow steaming is like 20% of the fuel consumption. And kind of if you think about big vessel, it can be several thousands of euros just one time. So it's significant. And the more there are vessels, there are several 100,000 vessels coming and going into the Finnish port every year. We are talking about big money. And of course, if you think about what are the impacts in terms of safety and stuff like that. So if we can inform the users that there's an accident, please slow down. We can avoid the follow-up accidents and stuff like that. And there's the value of kind of avoiding collisions, avoiding people getting hurt or even killed. That's massive, not just for the individuals, but all their loved ones and whatnot. So I think that we are really having a significant impact in the society in Finland, also through the digital information that we are sharing.
Now that's amazing. That's really amazing. Can I ask you, so we've talked about the impact and we've talked about some of the technologies. Can I ask you also about some of the challenges and the change journey? So let's start with the change journey. What have been, or how have you, been able to bring Finn traffic and all the people that you're working with along with you on the journey? Have they been very open and very receptive? And given the ecosystem of all the other people involved in the ecosystem, logistics companies, the ports, whoever, it's a lot of stakeholders, right?
Yes.
So how's that change journey been, and how are you addressing it?
Well, it has been varying. In some aspects, it's been really, really good. In some aspects, it's been really challenging. So what we have now currently, we have a totally open, free of charge, traffic-related data ecosystem. Traffic data ecosystem in Finland is the name. Currently, we have around 220 different organizations involved in that work. Fully open, no cost, everybody is welcome. And we've been fairly successful with that. So we created the vision, we communicated that vision. We communicated what are the major means of achieving the vision. We very closely listened to the parties about what type of stuff do they want to achieve, what are their goals, and start looking at that, both the kind of quick wins and the long term. But it's of course it's challenge. But these problems typically are system level problems. So several parties need to, in harmony, do things that the value is being generated. And of course, there's the problem that, okay, yes, value can be generated, but how do you capture, how do you share the value between different parties? And that's the challenge part. So how do we communicate what's in it for you? How do you incentivize that? Oh, okay, I need to do something so that somebody else gets value. Do I get value quickly enough? So, this is very common in different ecosystems and it's a constant journey and constant challenge how to convince different organizations to work together, even for problems that might be solved in 12 to 24 months from now.
How much longer do you think the journey is to get to? I mean, I know your vision, I think, is a 2030 vision. Do you think that's achievable? And what would be the biggest challenges that you see ahead of you?
Yes, I think it's achievable. So kind of that vision was created like 2 or 3 years ago. And now I even think that many parts of that vision can be achieved even earlier than 2030. So it really has hold time pretty well. But of course, the challenge is the main challenges, as I feel, is how do you incentivize different parties to provide data? How do you create business models? How do you kind of create a value sharing model so that everybody is interested in doing that? There's still the problem that sharing data, utilizing the data, it's a little bit too expensive. So how do we drive down the cost? So it's really easy to share the data. It's really easy to utilize the data so that the value compared to the cost is there's a good kind of margin between those two.
And so are you having some challenges with people reluctant to share data because they're not quite sure what's in it for them, or they might be concerned about ownership, intellectual property and that kind of thing?
It's kind of, Finland is a trust society, so I don't think there's a really trust issues. It's more like kind of the problem is what's in it for me. How kind of, okay, I need to do some stuff. Do I get enough value out of that? And in many cases, yeah, they might see the value, but there are 10 or 20 different other projects that provide even more and even quicker value. So that's a problem that we are having. How do you incentivize? How do you convince the different parties to contribute?
Yeah, okay, very interesting. I want to leave. I think this has been a fascinating discussion, and it's really amazing what you're doing in Finland, and I hope it's coming to a country near the rest of us soon, especially the UK in my case. But Janne, maybe if I can end by asking you, what's the coolest thing that you've done? What would you say is the coolest thing, the thing that you're most proud of?
Well, there are lots and lots of things. I can't settle for one. So kind of creating the data ecosystem of 220 organizations, that's something, it's my baby. So I'm very proud of that. Another thing is in Finland today, some of the major radio stations, they are getting information from our sources about, for example, accidents on the roads. And even during the night, there's an AI-enabled kind of system that reads these information aloud. It's AI reading these aloud, but they are also targeted. So if you have a accident in the northern part of Finland, they are only read out in the radio station in the northern part of Finland. If it's in the Helsinki area, it's only read aloud in the Helsinki area. So 24/7, this information go through, even through the radio, AI enabled. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is very cool. Janne, thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you.
This podcast, fascinating, and people can engage with the video. They can engage with your blog. It sounds like they can also engage with the FinTraffic web service if they want to. I've put links for the video and the blog into the chat, and hopefully those are available through the recording. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.